And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in our city. It's I, John D. and Kanika, a.k.a. And Too Much Podcast, you dirty rat. Good morning, young lady.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, if you don't mind. I'm talking like this because I'm trying to be fun.
It'd be the struggle for me. You work hard at it. I appreciate it.
Well, I made you laugh. So I guess that's fun. Or funny looking or something. I don't know. How are you?
I'm fine.
You sure? Fine, like fine as in...
I'm discouraged. So, everyone, when you get locks, you always worry about a few things. At least women do. You worry about it pulling at your hairline. And you worry about, because with locks, depending on, how you care for them, it could really thin your hair in certain areas. So we hanging out in the store. John was like, did we talk about this before? John was like, it looks like your hair is thinning a little bit right here.
No, I said, hey, I was like wondering, when do you start considering cutting locks off? And then you was like, why?
Right.
I was like, then I said,
hey, we sit in the store. My man took a picture of the top of my head to let me know, madam, we have an issue right here. I said, oh my God.
No, we didn't have an issue. If you had an issue, so to me, like I told her, I said, I just thought that everybody that got locks knew that it was going to eventually look like that. I've seen people hang on to dear life.
Yeah.
And it looked real bad. And I was just like,
Are we?
Yeah, I wanted to know what it looked like for her. Like, because she and I have talked about people's locks, like, don't let it get to that point.
Yeah.
But I was like, when do I let her know, like.
So I said, take a picture so I can see. So he takes a picture of the top of my head. I said, oh my God. So I cut my locks. I didn't cut them off completely. Before I was like, I'm just going to let them grow out. And then I'm going to cut off the part that's not in the lock. And then I'm going to roll from there. And later on, he's like, there were suggestions to like cut them shorter, but you can unravel them. It takes a long time to unravel locks. It really does. And so I don't have any more in-person meetings for the rest of the year. So I was like, okay, I'm going to cut these locks and I'm going to start unraveling them. It takes so much arm strength. It's so I'm in transition right now of unlocking my hair and hoping to retain some of the length of the hair. Because, it's going to be a lot of dead hair in there and stuff that's kind of packed in there. And I've lost a couple of gerbils pulling out hair like that. I used to talk about that. I'd be like, girl, it's a whole gerbil in your hair. Look at all this hair I got out. She was like, those are some big gerbils. I said, they are big gerbils, Day. I promise I threw away a guinea pig of shed hair earlier this week. And so I say I'm fine, but I'm over here waving. It ain't a white flag, but I'm like, the idea of fighting through like 100 locks, it just seems like a lot. Well, I'm going to say like 99 because I got one all the way done.
I can help you.
I know. It's so tiring.
Is it one of those things where you feel like you'd rather for the professional other than you DIY?
You know what? I hadn't even thought about that, like, because somebody, but I can't even imagine how they would even, like, what does that even look like? Maybe I need to look, because there's a lock bar here. So I'm going to look and see what their takedown. It's probably hundreds and hundreds of dollars, though. That's the thing. I could sit in the house for the month and wrap my hair in a band and just thug it out, I think. I mean, half of me wants to cut more off and just have less to have to deal with, but I just don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm fine. I'm still alive, y'all. That's all I'm gonna say. What about you? How are you? Forget my woes.
I'm good. Like I said, I'll definitely help you out if you need some help. Yeah. I don't mind. because we'll be watching something or we'll be talking about something anyway. So to me, I feel like I'm getting my hours in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm all about
your hours. Got it.
Question for you.
Absolutely.
What's the best relationship advice that you've received that's still working today?
Ooh. I guess it was more of a warning. My mom told me, and I've told so many people this after her, whatever it is that bothers you about that person is going to be 10 times worse when you are in the marriage with them day in, day out. So make sure that those things are things that you're going to be able to handle and not attack them for later. Because they showed you who they were then, and you said, no, I still want to marry them. If they don't ever change, are you still going to love them the same? And so I took those two things. If they never change, are you going to love them the same? And whatever you don't like can be 10 times worse when you're married. Are you going to be willing to stick with it? And I think that that's really, really helped me. And in conversations I've had with other people, they'll still recite that back to me and be like, you remember when your mom said? And I'll be like, yes, absolutely. Because it's true. It really makes you sit there and, I mean, you know, we get married because we be our hearts and the eyes and all the other stuff. But, like, you got to sit there and do some real take stock, take inventory before you really jump into it. And those were things that I had to really ask myself. And it's funny, I know that I was persevering, I was pushing through, because there would be other people that would meet you as we moved through the marriage, and when they would meet me, they'd be like, girl, like, I don't know how you do it. And usually they're talking about the stuff that I said to myself, I know that that's a core part of his personality, and that's just, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'll love it, or at least I'll live with it. It's cool.
You know, it's so crazy because I didn't understand why so many people said that. Like, I thought it was just like, I don't know. I didn't take it as seriously until when I started changing, like, I'm like, why am I so extra? And then I'm like, how many people did she meet that said that? I was like, dang.
A multitude.
Oh my gosh. I was like a big old kid in an adult body.
And they were like
he means well.
And she procreates with this dude. Like, how do you do that? Yeah, you were something else. But
oh my gosh.
What about you?
So I don't know really, but I do believe this. If you really want a really good relationship, everything in the dark has to come to the light. I remember somebody saying, like, you know, everything that's in the dark always come to the light. And I was like, not if you die.
That's horrible. Yeah.
But I definitely believe that now. And I believe that if you can get to that point, your relationship can grow exponentially in a direction that you wouldn't even believe. I definitely, like, I do believe this, that the way that I view our relationship now is just strictly to grow. Hey, Bruno, be quiet. It's strictly to grow. And I'm always trying to find a way, how can I learn more about you? Like, it's so crazy how I approach interaction with you. But I think it's helped our relationship in ways that I would have never, like, if somebody was like, hey John, if you do this, this and this, these things that happen. It's like, who's gonna do all that? Nobody gonna do all that. But the thing
No
is,
lies were told.
if you do those things, it gets easier and easier.
You said, who gonna do all that?
Yeah, like, you know, like, I gotta consider everything that I'm gonna say before I say it to her, and if she responds, I'm supposed to consider her feelings. Like, she know who I am.
He was hell, y'all.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, I love him.
You know?
Oh, I love him.
I think the apple don't fall too far from the tree. Yeah, y'all was chasing these ideas like we stupid, like men. We like me caveman. I work. We go trips.
That's exactly what it was. Shoot.
You have expensive things. I pay. That's from my heart.
Oh my God. Take a picture so people know it happened.
It did. And smile.
Oh my God.
I am smiling.
I am smiling.
But that's to me, I feel like once I was able to figure out why anything was in the dark, and then delivering it while I was in the dark, I feel like I walk differently. You know what I'm saying? So I think that if people want a relationship to really grow, nothing can be in the dark. Not on purpose. Not even if you're trying to protect somebody's feelings, because you don't know how they're going to respond, period. You know, and a lot of times people take it more personal that you didn't tell them versus,
hell yeah.
you know.
They're like, okay, that made it even worse.
Yeah. Hold on. Hey, I said stuff it. Yeah, it definitely makes it worse. So, like, I definitely believe that. I think that I can give better relationship advice now than I don't believe any other relationship advice is good that I can recall. Nothing like worth me sharing other than everything in the dark will come to the light.
Really?
Yes. And that's honest to God. Like, even from some of the, I mean, like, it's going to get worse before it get good. Yeah, I mean, that's anything, right? Like, it has to get bad. You know, if it don't get bad, y'all didn't challenge enough. You know, you kind of just accepted things for what they were. And, you know, like, I was just thinking, like, you know, I wish at some point you would write down a timeline of your emotions. Like, because in the beginning, like, you having these different emotions and ranges of whatever was going on. Like, I was really in La La Land.
Oh, I know. This dude was just floating. Look, we were in the John show, and everybody was like his little co-stars, and he was the main character. Literally.
No, I thought we were happy.
I know, because you were happy.
Yeah.
You were floating around having a good time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm working. I'm not getting in trouble. Like, I feel like I'm keeping things balanced. If we're doing this, we're trying to do this. Like, golly, that is crazy.
John had main character energy before anybody was talking about main character energy. I'm happy, so the family got to be happy, y'all.
Well, I felt like I was doing everything that a man was supposed to be doing.
I know, me, caveman.
Yes, caveman. Me stupid.
Well, yeah, I didn't help you.
You didn't.
No, I just let you float around.
And you know, like, so to me, I feel like if you don't help me, I'm doing it right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And yeah, so but all the other advice that I've gotten through relationships, I don't think they've gone that far. It was like, look, I know she don't like talking about that. I don't even talk about it. To me, I'm like, I know she don't like talking about it, but I'm gonna try to figure it out so we can talk about it. Because to me, I feel like if you're able to talk about the most difficult things, like, you learn more about me, and I learn more about you.
I don't mind talking about more difficult things now that you realize that your way isn't the only way.
Oh yeah, I was so narrow-minded.
I just felt like, the whole conversation would just be, it would revolve around your answer being right, and ain't nobody interested in that.
Like, for real,
like, this is boring. Bye. So,
but I didn't know how to have empathy for other people because I felt like you didn't. I always felt like I did more research for. Yeah,
more research with percentages and ain't read it nowhere.
No, I'm just saying, like,
95% of the time.
Yeah, I want this. You know, I had some bad practices, but it has nothing in comparison to me actually reading the material more than the person I'm talking to. I feel like that's the reason why I could do it. But I did have some bad practices on things so people could get it confused. Like, John will argue about anything.
He will.
So it kind of reduces my credibility.
Yeah.
But not now. Like now I'm like more so trying to figure out why you feel that way so that I can figure out how I can feel that way. Like, okay, I didn't look at it that way. To me, it makes the conversation easier, and it makes me a better person because I was like, why didn't I feel that before? Like, why did they have to explain all of this to me? I know. Like, I'm sorry, I'm me caveman.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Yeah, people had to explain stuff over and over again.
Because I just didn't. I'm telling you, like, I was an Esau student before Esau came out. All right, like I learned how to read, but I didn't understand comprehension. And I can still say that to this day that, like, even with music, I gotta like read it and hear it. Like I can't just hear it because it's going too fast. And if I read it, I gotta read it slow at my pace. So like when people talking, they already talking in a different dialect. I said, I've heard them words before. That sounds about right. Normally when these words go together, you say yes.
That's horrible.
Well, I'm saying, like, what do you want me to do? Like, but, you talk to enough people, you get enough options to be correct when people won't question it and be like, yeah, that's about right. But now I'm able to process words better.
Oh, good job.
Yeah. So any other relationship advice do you have any that you feel like, if you could give something to somebody, what would you give to them outside of growth, giving them time to grow? Would you say women needed time to grow?
Yeah. I mean, I told you when I came in, I thought women were supposed to be a certain thing. And then just like social media, people post and you only see what you see. So you don't know all of the blood, sweat, and tears it took to get to wherever they got to. When people are decorating their house and then they show you, you don't know that behind the camera it looked like a complete disaster. I think watching other people in their marriages, you can only assume from the outside. You don't know what mess is behind the doors of their household. You only see them interacting with you and they're giving you the best presentation. Sometimes they are. And so I kind of just feel like you have to make go into your marriage, understand you got two unique people. Be honest about your expectations of what it's supposed to look like. Because we weren't. When I went in, I thought I was supposed to be...
What do you mean be honest of your expectations?
Because when we went into the marriage, I thought I was supposed to be cleaning houses and working and raising these amazing kids.
You don't think you were being honest then that you thought you were really supposed to do?
No, I really did.
So so if you think that's what you're supposed to do, how's that not being honest?
Well, I think that knowing that you're going in with these expectations, but also knowing that it may not really, really look like that when everything plays out.
Yeah. That it can change.
Yes.
Can change.
Please go into it being like flexible, being understanding that, you could go in thinking one thing. I think we had a conversation about this before where it's like, if you go down in flames arguing with somebody about something 2 years ago, and then you get some new information, and then when you're talking to them, you be like, you know what? I don't believe that anymore. I believe this. And then they like flambe you, like, oh, you said, but you said this. And it makes you feel like you're stuck being.
Well, this is your partner, though.
I know. But sometimes I remember when we got married and you were like, don't do anything you're not willing to do all the way to the end. And I was like, oh my God.
I put the heat on her.
Hey, and it was like, if you going in this and if I'm going in with the expectation that I'm supposed to be doing the laundry, cleaning the house, cooking the food, taking care of the kids. And he said, don't come in here doing stuff that you don't plan on doing for the rest of your life. That's some serious pressure.
But I told you don't worry about all of that. Like
I know, but what I'm saying is the understanding that when you go in, both of y'all need to understand that
things can change.
Heck yeah, the roles are so fluid.
Yeah.
What you do now, you may not be doing later because you figure out that you're not really good at it and they are. Or what you think is necessary may not be a necessary component of the relationship, and it's okay to let that thing go. It's not important. So we don't have to be rigid on that idea. I think that if people go in understanding that in the first 3 years, and they always talk about the first 3 to 5 years that are hardest in a marriage, and I think if we went into the marriage understanding that we're just feeling around, okay, let's figure out what works for us. Let's figure out what works for us rather than going in and saying, this is how I want it to be, and this is how I want it to be. Okay, then that's how it's going to be. And then you fighting through. I think if you went in feeling like it's an escape room, you going in and you're trying to figure out everything that's around you, where are the clues, what works.
And you come back and make a decision together.
Heck yeah. It would have been so much easier. And I think even like with money, like somebody told me there are 5 different ways of managing money because money is big with marriage. And they said you could have completely separate accounts, and then you pay the joint bills together. You could have the entire account together, and then you pay everything out, and then you each of you take a percentage for your spending money. There were 5 options, but what I found was that, and what she was saying was, you pay the house bills, but everything has to do with savings and investments and all the other stuff. Y'all all do that separately. Oh yeah, that was what it was. And so then the next one was, you do 50-50. Well, that was 50-50. The next one was, look at how much you make. So if you make $60,000, your partner makes $40,000, then you pay 60% of the bills. They pay 40% of the bills, and then your money is your money. And then another thing they said was you come in and you do that. And the idea is you grow from being separate in everything other than taking care of the house to doing everything together, including savings and investments. It's like really, really looking at your path ahead and planning it out together, being fair to one another as far as salary and spending, but really prioritizing your saving and investing and things like that. And so when we went in, we were like, okay, we're going to have a joint account to pay everything 50-50, and then your money is your money. And we haven't had any problems for real when it comes to that. But when I listened to the woman, I understood that we probably could have grown our savings and investments a lot more if we would have put everything in a pot and made a decision of how things got dispersed and then done our money later. Because doing it separately, like, you would have kept me on top of savings more than I would have. But investing, if we would have had to make decisions about how to invest money more, I think there were some things that you invested in that we would have mulled over it a lot more and been more conservative about. And so if we would have combined our powers like Voltron, you know what I mean? I think, but when we went in, we knew some young marriages that weren't working based on money, and our process worked. Yeah. And we stuck with it. And we've been 15 years into this, and our marriage hasn't had an issue when it came to money in regards to that. Like, bills definitely made sure it got paid. Yeah. But we could have done better.
For sure.
But we came in and we had rigid ideas of how things were going to go. And so I circle all back to say, go in like a noodle, like a cooked noodle, and be willing to bend and move and swerve and figure it all out, and let it be the trial period where you try everything, kind of like an undecided major. Yeah. When you go in, nothing is set in stone. And then when you find something that works, set that in stone and then move to the next thing.
Yeah, and you may find a whole new path, a new way to do it. Just make sure that both of you understand, the expectation. Like, there's nothing new, nobody's surprised.
Yeah, even saying what your expectations were. There were some things that I just thought you thought the same way as me. So I never said it. So I never knew that you were on a whole different page than me. Yeah. So say what you want to try out, and then try it out, but don't be married to it. That's where I'm coming from. What about you? I'm so long-winded. I'm sorry.
No, that was cool. I believe in therapy, journaling, and asking as many different questions as possible. I think that the relationship can't really grow unless one person at least is willing. Say this. One person at least is willing to know that there's somebody needs to catch up. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't think this person needs to catch up, it sounds like it's going to be conflict constantly. And I feel like you gave me enough grace to like learn how to communicate better, where you could tolerate and understand. Okay, it was like, instead of like yelling, allow me to learn how to talk appropriately, where you can be like, okay. And I think if you can't communicate effectively, you're going to always have those problems. So one person in a relationship doesn't have to reveal that they're a better communicator than the other, but they have to know that they have to allow the other one to grow. You got to bring them up, you know, because if you don't bring them up, you're expecting them to just figure it out. Yeah. You know, like when people are yelling at you, that's what they do. You know, like you can't expect tomorrow that they're going to stop yelling at you. Like unless something's wrong with them at that point. But they're probably that's just what they do. That's how they respond whenever their emotions feel that way. So you have to bring that attention to them. Say, hey, I feel like when you speak to me this way, I want to shut down and I don't even want to talk to you. And I don't want to feel that way because I enjoy your company. But you have to say it in a way where they were like, oh, I didn't even try to do that. And if they try to tell you that's the way they talk, well, you say, hey, I don't like the way you speak to me, and if you continue to do it that way, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit. And like, you have to be able to set that boundary, because if you don't, they're going to say, hey, at least they can say, hey, you're right, I'm gonna work on it. And then you can have that grace for them. But if they say, no, this is how I talk, then you can't give them any grace, because you're hoping that they're playing with you. Like, it's like, nah, I'm gonna work on it without telling you. Like, just remember that. Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
Not today. You?
Shout out to our dogs.
Yes.
You know, Kingston and Bruno are some really good dogs. I enjoy their company, and they just, I don't know, they give you a smile when another human probably can't. Not for me, I'm always smiling, but you know,
for me,
they helped out my wife a lot. So shout out to them for keeping her whole while I was on my mission to become a better communicator.
Aw, they did.
Yeah, I know. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA, get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.